someone waits for me.
This is Ken Carpenter, welcoming you to the Bing Crosby Show for Chesterfield. Produced and transcribed in Hollywood with John Scott Trotter and his orchestra, Judd Collins with the Mayors and Bing's guests, Bert Wheeler and Walter O'Keefe. And now, folks, we bring you a man who today is celebrating his birthday, Bing Crosby.
Yeah, you're right. Ken, no kidding. This is my birthday.
And a happy birthday. Well, Bing, what's new?
Well, not me, I can assure you.
Oh, now, Bing,
I have been around, shall we
don't
say.
be blue.
Well, I'm a bit-
We all feel a little older on our birthday.
Oh, I feel great, feel fine, but this particular birthday presents something of a problem to me.
Huh?
In fact, almost an ordeal.
Ordeal? What do you mean?
Well, Dixie's over in Europe, you know, so the 4 kids, they baked me a cake this year.
Oh, how sweet.
Isn't that
What
nice?
kind of cake the boys bake?
Chocolate nuts, and from the way it hefts, I think there's a few bolts in it, too. A Stilson wrench may be concealed under the thing.
Well, after all, the kids meant well.
Of course they did. I appreciate it, but I do wish they'd taken the trouble to learn how to make a frosting.
Why?
Well, my birthday cake's the only one ever made that has mayonnaise rosettes on it. That's a little rough.
Look, if you survive the cake, are you going to the Kentucky Derby in Louisville on Saturday?
Ken, I just can't make the Kentucky Derby. I sure regret that I can't be there with Colonel Bill Coram and all those nice people down at Churchill Downs.
Say, Bing, I wonder which horse will win the Derby this year.
What did you say?
You
You wonder which horse can,
Yes,
my
I
dear.
wonder which
It's
horse
thinking
will
like
win.
that makes horse players into bridge jumpers. Wonder indeed. Be sure, be confident.
Oh, I suppose you're absolutely sure you have the winner of the Derby.
Certainly, I have a system.
Oh, you and your tea leaves.
No, not using the tea leaf routine.
Changing.
No.
What system are you using?
Just hunches and bunches. Strictly on hunch. Hunch betting this year. I'll bet you anything I got the win of the Derby, too.
How do you figure?
Well, here's how I figure. Today's my birthday, right?
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely sure that next Saturday, Big Stretch will win the Kentucky Derby.
Well, why are you so sure of Big Stretch?
Because Bob Hope sent me a girdle for my birthday present. A gold gossett, I
gossett?
think. Yes. And that hunch is as good as gold, believe me.
Bing, you're being silly. Pull yourself together.
I'm pulled together. I'm wearing the girdle. Now, let's forget this happy horse talk, kid, and get to singing. This thing can go on indefinitely. I've got to do an opening number here sometime, and I've got a clever little number here called Sparrow in the Treetop. Sparrow in the treetop, sparrow in the treetop, though he loves his mate. Sparrow in the treetop, sparrow in the treetop, scared of going home because it's too darn late. Don't look at me, sweetheart, with scorn in your eyes. I've been out all night, I'm gonna tell you no lies. Stopped in one place, I heard 'em singing a song. Like a lonely sparrow, I started singing along. Just a singing,
Sparrow in the treetop, sparrow in the treetop,
all night sitting in the tavern.
Sparrow in the treetop, sparrow in the treetop, scared of going home because it's too darn late.
In walked a blonde dear, she asked me to dance. I told that blonde, no, that there wasn't a chance. I love my kid and my beautiful wife.
Is that the honest truth, dear?
Oh, well, I swear by my life. I kept a-singing
Sparrow in the treetop, sparrow in the
tavern
treetop,
all night, sitting in the tavern,
Sparrow in the
in
treetop,
the
sparrow in the
tavern,
treetop, scared of going home because it's too darn late.
There's There's things I am, sweetheart, things that I ain't.
Because you're a man, and a man is no saint.
Won't you forgive, 'cause I'm telling you true. I was in that tavern, only thinking of you.
Only thinking of you.
Just a singing.
Sparrow in the treetop, sparrow in the treetop.
All night sitting in the tavern. In the tavern.
Scared of going home because it's too darn late.
Scared of going home because it's too darn late.
Bouncy, Bing boys and girls, mighty bouncy.
Isn't that a bubbly little rustic roundelay, Ken? Almost to the point of, I might say, effervescent, yes.
Well, that being the case, Bing, I suggest we bounce right to the business at hand.
Lovely senorita says no, and I believe her, but oh, why do her eyes say quizás, quizás, quizás? That Spanish moon is brighter tonight. It must know something all right. That's why her eyes say quizás, quizás, quizás. We should go back and dance with the rest of the dancers. And yet I have a feeling that her heart's not in her answer. The lovely senorita says no, but I'm not willing to go. Not while her eyes say quizás, quizás, quizás.
Siempre que te pregunto que cuando, come, dónde, yo siempre me respondes quizás, quizás, quizás. The lovely senorita says no, says no, says no. But why do her eyes say maybe, maybe so?
We should go back and dance with the rest of the dancers. And yet I have the feeling that her heart's not in her answer. The lovely senorita says no, but I'm not willing to go. Not while her eyes say
quizás,
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 quizás. Could be. Now, folks, by way of an introduction, I'd like to announce that Mr. Bert Wheeler, a very dear friend of mine, has dropped in to pay us a visit tonight. You know, I've long admired and followed Mr. Wheeler's career in every medium of the theatrical profession. In vaudeville, musical comedy, pictures, radio, and during the past year, he's been leading the television league in guest appearances. Through the years, Bert has won the affection of everyone in show business. And as for myself, I love the little man. I really do. Here he is now, Bert Wheeler.
Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you, Bing, for that flattering introduction.
Oh, Bert, there's no flattery intended there at all. I just gave you the acknowledgement a man of your talent and your background deserves.
Look, Bing, you don't have to kid me with that big build-up. This program has important guest stars, and you're just trying to explain me to your sponsor.
Get out. My sponsor's a dignified and cultured gentleman. He wouldn't listen to this clam bake.
How do you know he doesn't listen?
Well, we're still working, ain't we?
Gee, I wish I could get a sucker.
Oh, well,
I mean a sponsor like that.
You don't want radio, Bert. Look at all those TV shows you've been doing. Every time I turn my dial, you come on.
Then why do you keep turning your dial? Are you trying to lose me?
No, I enjoy watching you. May I tell you something, Bert? You never look better. You look great.
No kidding. Well, Bing, you're the guy who's really holding up.
Not too saggy?
No, not a bit. You know, when I first met you, you were just a kid out of college. You haven't changed a bit.
I haven't?
Nope, you've still got that same collegiate look about you. I noticed you've even gone back to a crew haircut.
Well, thank you.
At least it looks like a crew cut. You know, from down here where I am.
Well, don't nobody come up here. You know, Bert, I can still remember the vaudeville act you used to do. Bert and Betty Wheeler. I'll never
Was
forget.
that her name, Bing?
Yes. Certainly, Bert and Betty. B&B, they used to call it. I'll never forget it. You used to lie across the footlights. You had a routine where you lie across the footlights and you used to tell the audience how to make home brew.
Yeah, that's right, Bing.
Is that just your act, Bert? I often wondered, did you really know how to make home brew?
Why do you think I had to lie across the footlights?
Remember those jokes you used to tell, Bert?
Yeah, and Bing, since I've been listening to your program, I notice you remember them, too.
Me?
Yes, in fact, that's what I came here to see about tonight.
What do you mean?
Well, I heard one of your programs some time ago, and you stole a whole routine of mine.
I did? But, Bert, what's the beef? What do you expect me to do?
Well, don't you think we ought to, work out some kind of a settlement? A financial adjustment? A monetary consideration?
You mean give you money?
Please, Bing, let's keep this thing on a high level now.
You want a lot of money. Yeah. Well, Bert, I'd be very happy to straighten this matter out. That is, if you're sure that is your joke.
Of course it is. I've been telling that joke for over 20 years.
20 years? Well, Bert, then it's not your joke.
What do you mean?
It's public domain. Belongs to everybody.
How do you like this guy? For years, he's been going around lifting people and pushing them around, and his brother Everett's been taking the rap for it.
You sure re-edited that line. Let me see that.
It's a good thing we're on tape, or I'd go back and burlesque after this one.
I'd like to join you.
Honest thing, I never thought you'd turn me down.
Well, it's a matter of principle, Bert. If the joke isn't yours legally, on what grounds would you expect me to give you money?
Well, I don't know much about law.
Well, I was counting on that.
But I did bring someone with me who does. What? This man is the quizmaster on the Campbell Soup Show, Double or Nothing. He's a graduate of Notre Dame Law School, and he's a comedian in his own right.
Man's name must be Walter O'Keefe.
Yep, and when he gets through with you, you'll think his name is Walter O'Keefehofer. He'll straighten you up. I'm going outside and get him.
Who needs him? This is building, isn't it?
Oh, Walter.
Yes, Bert.
Walter. Look, I was just talking with his nibs, and I think he's going to be a pretty tough cookie.
Look, I won't have any trouble with him, Bert. Through the years, I've gotten to know the man and understand him. You see, Bing has one little idiosyncrasy that's characteristic of people who deal in high finance and astronomical figures.
What's that?
He's cheap.
He is?
But only when it comes to money.
Gee, he never used to be like that.
Well, he's got some now. But don't worry, Bert. I know how to get around him. I can handle Crosby. I know the law. I'll give him a fast noli proce. I'll give him a hot little habeas corpus, and we'll get the dough. I'll go in there and give him the big hello, a little sweet talk, and from then on, Bert, really, he's putty in my hands.
Good luck, Walter.
Walter! Well, how are you?
Oh, Bing, a welcome like that, you make me as happy as a mosquito in a nudist camp.
What's on your mind, Walter?
Bing, I've never seen you looking better. How is the one and only Bing the greatest of them all?
What's on your mind, Walter?
Well, I wanted to talk to you about Bert Wheeler.
Now, if it's about that stale joke that he wants some dough for, aloha.
What's that?
You want it on the steel guitar or just plain alone?
Well, if that's the way you're going to act...
Now, Walter, don't. This cuts me deeply. Really, it does. I'm surprised and amazed at you taking sides with Wheeler against me.
Look, Bert Wheeler has been a friend of mine for many years.
Well, we've been pals too, Walter. And besides, when things were tough and breaks were against you, who did you always depend on to get you back on your feet? Me or Wheeler?
Me. And there were times when even I lost interest.
And we all had tough sledding in those days. You remember when we first came to California, Walter?
Yeah.
Did you go back that far? You
Sure.
remember? Two of us living together in a little hall bedroom.
Bing, do you remember the cute little brunette, the petite bonbon,
Little bonbon.
who lived across the hall from us?
Mm-hmm. Remember the way she used to write notes to you, Walter? She used to leave them in her milk bottle.
Yeah.
Walter, what did she say in those notes?
Stop stealing my milk.
Memories, memories.
Now, Bing, about this money for Wheeler.
Walter, this baffles me, honestly. It does. Why are you so anxious about Wheeler? What's in it for you? What's your cut?
The usual legal fee, 33 1/3%.
Walter, I could make a deal with you, but I realize you're a man of high integrity.
Natural.
Look, I'm willing to settle this thing for $500 right now if you can convince Wheeler that he's not entitled to anything.
Oh, Bing, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Do you realize you're suggesting that I double-cross a friend, resort to filthy hugger-mugger, connive and cheat a pal of many years' standing who's placed his trust in me?
Hello, fellas.
Oh, hello, Bert. I'm glad you're here.
How's it going, pal?
Look, Bert, I talked your case over with Bing from the legal angle, from the personal angle, from the moral angle, the gentleman's angle, the code of honor. I've gone into the whole thing thoroughly, and as your lawyer, I have this to say.
What is it, Walter?
Kid, you haven't got a leg to stand on.
I haven't?
Nope.
That doesn't sound right to me. Mr. O'Keefe, are you sure you two college boys didn't cook up something between you?
Why, Bert, do you think I'd double-cross you? Stoop to chicanery?
You're darn right you would. You know, you're an awful sneak, O'Keefe. He really is.
Wait, fellas. This is silly. Three buddies like us, pals for years, and a little beef over just a little money. After all, money isn't everything.
Nowadays, it isn't anything.
Could be right.
Right as rain, amigo. You know, I know a counterfeiter, and this poor guy is losing 50 cents on every dollar he puts out.
Well, Walter.
Time. Let him mull it over.
Sure. Why doesn't he quit?
He's just operating now for goodwill. He wants to keep his customers in case money ever comes back.
You know, while we're on this subject of currency, lads, there's a nice song. I don't know if you fellas have heard it or not, but Merman's got a record on it with Ray Bolger. Thing harks right back to the halcyon days when a nickel was quite a hunk of dough.
Oh, Bing, you mean Once Upon a Nickel? That's a good tune.
Maybe we could get off with that.
All right. I'd like to get off with something.
Bert, I promise you we'll get everything straightened out here. In the meanwhile, why don't the three of us lads just kind of raise our voices? You get that happy tenor of yours, Walter, the lead. I'll take the baritone, and we'll sing a little paean here, a little praise of the nickel. The good old days, the nickel it used to be. Are you eager?
I'm
willing?
for it.
Yeah. Oh, once upon a nickel,
Yeah.
you could really buy a cake of soap, a good cigar, a piece of apple pie, a subway ride, an ice cream cone. For a nickel, you could phone. Well, those were the good old days. Our Mr. Wheeler.
And once upon a nickel, you could buy a lot. A loaf of bread, a bowl of soup, a hot dog really hot. A glass of beer, a can of beans, a nickel bought most magazines. Those were the good old days.
That's him.
Birthday.
What happened to that nickel cup of coffee?
A tumbler of coffee.
The 5-cent bag of peanuts at the game?
Give them a nickel now, they'll spit in your eye.
Because I have no doubt that the nickel is dying out.
Gone.
I'm gonna put one in a special frame.
Oh, yes, like Gainsborough's Blue Ball.
Mr. Crosby.
Once upon a nickel, we could have us a time.
Oh.
But now to buy a nickel's worth, you need more than a dime. The day may come, but who knows when, they'll sensibly revive again the nickel and those good old days.
I'm for it, Peggy.
Go ahead,
you.
Once upon a nickel, you were in the chips. You'd do the town and throw around those great big nickel tips.
Diamond Jim Wheeler.
The silver coins, when they were tossed, could get a gal's kid brother lost.
Hello, Bob.
Those were the good old days.
Oh, once upon a nickel,
Yeah.
life was very nice.
Oh.
A nickel brought the Iceman up with quite a chunk of ice.
And those suppers at the automat.
Weren't they gay?
How I laughed when they stole my hat.
Best
Were the
beaver.
good old days. Now the mighty buffalo upon the nickel. I get the pretty part.
You sustained
He's so
beautifully.
ashamed that he has to hide his face.
'Cause the nickel shrunk so small, there's no room for him there at all.
You know they're putting Mickey Mouse on in his place.
Have a banana.
I'll take a cutting
Once when you earned nickels, you could just relax.
Loaded.
But out of every nickel now, 4 pennies go for tax.
Ho! If you've got 50 cents to spend, a nickel beer, a toast, my friend, a nickel, and the good old days.
Bring back the buffalo.
The nickel and the good old days.
Say, Bing, did you hear Bob Hope's show last night?
Hung on every word of it. Wouldn't miss a syllable.
Right.
Yes, sir. Old Nozzle Nostrils did his broadcast from our Chesterfield factory down in Durham, North Carolina. Isn't he brave to go down there again? Especially at tobacco planting time after what happened last spring.
Last spring? What happened?
Didn't you hear?
No.
Sound like Frank Gallup, don't I? Haven't you heard? Well, last year, Ken,
Yes?
a tobacco grower took one look at Hope's nose, and before he could say anything, he was hitched to a mule, and he plowed up 8.5 acres of the south quarter.
Well, one thing, you don't need a nose like Bob Hope's to make the Chesterfield mildness test.
No, indeed.
When the sun in the morning peeps over the hill and kisses the roses round my windowsill, then my heart fills with gladness when I hear the trill of the birds in the treetops on Mockingbird Hill. Tra-la-la, twiddly-dee-dee, it gives me a thrill to wake up in the morning to the mockingbird's trill. Tra-la-la, twiddly-dee-dee, there's peace and goodwill. You're welcome as the flowers on Mockingbird Hill. Got a 3-cornered plow and an acre to till, and a mule that I bought for a $10 bill. There's a tumble-down shack and a rusty old mill, but it's my home, sweet home, up on Mockingbird Hill.
Tra-la-la, tweety-dee-dee, it gives me a thrill to wake up in the morning to the mockingbird trill. Tra-la-la, tweety-dee-dee, there's peace and goodwill. You're welcome in the flowers on Mockingbird Hill.
When it's late in the evening, I climb up the hill and survey all my kingdom while everything's still. Only me in the sky and an old whippoorwill singing songs in the twilight on Mockingbird Hill. Tra-la-la, twiddly-dee-dee, it gives me a thrill to wake up in the morning to the mockingbird's trill. Tra-la-la, twiddly-dee-dee, there's peace and goodwill. You're welcome as the flowers on Mockingbird Hill. You're welcome as the flowers on Mockingbird Hill. On Mockingbird Hill.
Thank you, folks. Thank you very much. And that just about wraps up this little tortilla for tonight. Guess that'll get us off, all right.
I'd like to get off with something.
Oh, Bertie, don't be so bitter.
Of course not, Bert. Be a philosopher. Let a smile be your umbrella.
Certainly. Let it rain, let it pour, but look up, smile. Let that be your umbrella.
Sure.
Now these guys want to drown me.
No, seriously, Bert, you didn't think for 1 minute, did you? Honestly, that I would gyp you out of that material, out of that
Oh,
stuff?
of course I didn't think about it for a minute.
Kid, your worries are over. First thing tomorrow morning, I'm sending you a check for the full amount of that material.
Well, why don't you pay me right now?
Oh, I got to reach in my pocket and everything. It's very big, innovating. I'll send the check to you.
Say, just a minute. What happened to the mouthpiece? What about me?
What about you?
Yeah, what about my end?
Well, I'll tell you. Say that line once more, because I don't want to lose it.
What about me? What about my end?
I'm going to kick it for you.
Before the little man assaults me, Bing.
Yes, this is getting too physical.
I think I better ask you, who's going to be with you next week?
Next
shouldn't
week, Walter, our guest will be Mr. Fred Astaire.
Oh, very stylish, fancy.
Also, Miss Teresa Brewer will be with us, the recording lassie. Laddies, let's amble across the street, shall we, to the Brown Derby?
Just before you amble, Bing, I think we should remind the folks that Mother's Day is coming up soon. The Bing Crosby Show, presented by Chesterfield, was produced and transcribed in Hollywood by Bill Morrow and Murdo McKenzie. Tune in next week and hear Bing and his guests, Mr. Fred Astaire and Miss Teresa Brewer. Ladies and gentlemen, support United Cerebral Palsy. Give them the treatment centers, the rehabilitation schools, the doctors, nurses, physical therapists they need. Dig way down deep and send a generous contribution to United Cerebral Palsy Association, 50 West 57th Street, New York.